hear me and I hope you can understand me. My name is Andy Morton. I'm a drinks journalist, and as you can see from behind me here, I'm the news and insights editor for Just Drinks. And I'm here today to talk to you about the state of the rum industry. I remember the very first rum event that I went to as a journalist. It was in London, it was in the basement of a bar, and it was for the launch of a Navy rum. I was having a conversation with somebody about the different spirits categories. And as I'm from Scotland, I was patriotically backing the merits of Scotch. But this person said to me, imagine if you were to walk into a bar and there were two tables. At one table, there was a group of people drinking rum, and at the other table, there was a group of people drinking Scotch. If you were looking to have a fun night out, which table would you sit down at? Of course, the answer is the rum table. No other spirit has quite the same attraction as rum. With its worldwide footprint, quality rum can be found in every corner of the globe, especially those places where having a good time is a way of life. From the beach huts of Jamaica to the cocktail bars of Shanghai, rum has found its way into the lives and into the glasses of millions of spirits lovers all over the world. Indeed, we are all here today because we have a passion for rum. However, unfortunately, I'm here to tell you that that passion is not shared quite as widely as we might hope. 10 years ago, rum was considered one of the hottest spirits categories in the world. But today, that optimism appears a little bit misplaced. This year, my publication, Just Drinks, partnered with the IWSR to produce a global overview of the rum industry. That report highlights how rum has hit a global standstill. It will if it comes up. Aha, there we go. Thank you very much. As you can see from the sorry about this. This always happens. Sorry. Uh-huh.
Yes. Can I see it?
Back. You get to see all my slides. Hey, yeah, hold on. Great, all right. You can see that, yeah? Okay, so we can see from the graph that rum volumes over the past 10 years have stagnated. After good growth in 1999, all the way to 2011, there's been a little bit of a decline. However, last year, global volumes amounted to 142 million cases. And that was a decrease of about 1% from the year before. In the past 5 years, between 2010 and 2015, the annual growth rate for rum has been a little bit less than 1%. In comparison, annual North American whiskey growth over the same period is around about 6%. 9 of the top 20 markets fell in 2015, including 4 out of the top 5. Virtually all of those are in growth. All of the markets that are in growth are in low single digits. Rum's trajectory is one of gentle decline. And our report sums it up in 3 simple words: not overly dynamic. Meanwhile, in many parts of the world, as you can see from the next slide, there we go, rum continues to be viewed as a commodity, a low-priced product. Some 21% of the total category sales are low-priced, with value brands accounting for a further 39%. Taken in total, that's 60% overall of the market. Super premium rum accounts for just 0.3% of total category sales. This compares to 2% for vodka and 3% for brandy, and also 5% for Scotch whisky. So you can see there's a big difference there at the top end of the market. Unfortunately, it's not about to get any better. Rum's decline is poised to continue over the next few years, according to our report. The category is likely to shed, next slide, nearly 3.7 million cases between 2016 and 2021. This will include losses in all of the top 3 markets, and that's India, the US, and the Philippines. Only 2 out of the top 10 markets, Cuba and the Dominican Republic, are likely to grow over the next few years. Now, you might ask, why is that happening? Well, one of the main reasons is that many of the top brands that we know are not doing very well. Bacardi has been in decline for the past 2 years, and it is now the 3rd largest brand in the industry, having been number 1 for quite a long time. The flatlining sales suggest that it has lost resonance with younger millennial consumers, many of whom are here today. Core variant Bacardi Superior is down in both of its leading markets, and that's the US and Mexico. Now, Bacardi is trying to restore its fortunes through a new marketing platform and a change of US distributor. And they're trying to prioritize premium and above activity through high-end expressions and with the new acquisition of Banks Rum. In rum terms, Diageo is the new Bacardi. The Captain Morgan owner became the world's largest rum company in 2014. And that was through the acquisition of India's United Spirits, which is a huge company which also has the Celebration rum brand. Now, Captain Morgan, that returned to growth last year in the US, Canada, and Western Europe. And Original Spice is remaining the key variant of the franchise. Next, we have a look at Pernod Ricard. Great. Pernod Ricard, they own Havana Club, and that is the rum category's 4th largest brand with 4 million cases. However, growth has recently slowed, partly because of fierce competition from Cuba and from a lot of low-priced competitors. The company's legal battle with Bacardi over the use of the Havana Club brand name in the US is still ongoing. But Pernod, they have managed to go for a fallback position with the trademarking of Havanista. And Havanista is Havana Club, but with a different label. And that is for sale in the US. The brand's performance in Italy, Spain, and Chile disappointed last year. And recent sales rises also came to an end in Germany. Next one. Moving on. Edrington. Now, they bought Brugal. But just after they bought it, sales went all the way down. Sales have halved since they bought the brand in 2007. And that was largely because of the Spanish market, because people just stopped buying it here in Spain. So it's all your fault, I'm afraid. Brugal has also come under pressure in the Dominican Republic, and its US performance has been dismal. So it wasn't just you guys. Travel retail, however, has been doing okay, and that's what they're pinning their hopes on for the future. Finally, Beam Suntory's rum brands Cruzan and Ron Rico, they were flat or declining last year. But it's not just brands that have been declining. At the same time, markets have gone down, and the main engines of growth have not been firing. Last year, volumes in Spain, they were down 5%. See, I told you it was your fault. Brazil was down 2%, and the Dominican Republic was flat. However, worst of all, we have the US. And volumes in the US, which is one of the biggest rum markets in the world, they were down 3%, falling down to 22 million cases. And that was partly because of the decline in spiced rum. And spiced rum has been doing fantastically well in the US in the past, but just recently it's been hit because of the phenomenon of the Fireball, the cinnamon-spiced whiskies. Fireball, Firejack, Jack Fire, and things like that. And they have started to take share from out of the spiced rums in the US market. If spiced rum is weakening in the US, then this can also happen in other markets. And this is where rum's diversity and versatility are both a weakness and a strength. Its different style creates multiple points of consumer appeal, but its chameleon nature can make it hard for consumers to understand its true identity. And we also have the geographical diversity of rum, and that has caused a problem because consumers get confused over where rums come from. Rules can vary wildly on the addition of sugar, the minimum maturation periods, and the meaning of age statements. For example, depending where a rum comes from, an age statement, for example, 12-year-old or 8-year-old, that can refer to a minimum maturation period, an average, or something even more confusing. Now, this lack of transparency is causing a problem for rum, and it is out of step with current consumer trends. And when I say current consumer trends, I really mean young people, millennials. Next slide. There we go. There's a desire amongst younger consumers, millennials, to know as much as possible about how and where products are made. The obvious answer to this is stricter regulation of the industry, but rum's very diversity makes this all but impossible to agree and enforce, leaving individual countries or regions to create and communicate their own rules. Meanwhile, some people think that rum has yet to adequately reach younger consumers. And this here is a quote from the CEO of Bacardi, Mike Dolan. And he says the communications behind the brand, when he says the brand, he means Bacardi, communications behind the brand have been behind the curve. We need to get big ideas and reach people, particularly the 25 to 30-year-olds, in locations and the media where they should be reached. So this is somebody, one of the biggest rum makers in the world, who feels, despite all the investment and the money that this company has, they have yet to reach these younger consumers. But there are other factors to rum's stagnation. I'm sorry if this is sounding a little bit depressing. It gets a little bit more optimistic in a minute. While gin, whiskey, and vodka have all benefited from the rise of craft distilling, there's been less evidence of this happening with rum. And if we look at what is happening in bourbon and what has already happened with Scotch, then rum's comparative failure to premiumize in the US has been the most disappointing aspect of the category so far. So I hear you ask, what is the bad news? But it's not all doom and gloom for the rum category. In fact, some markets are not doing badly at all. And we can see from the next slide, on this side we have France in growth. I think we also have Germany doing quite well. And over here we have the United Kingdom, which last year was in growth. And maybe this year will also be in growth because people after Brexit may need a little bit of rum to cheer them up. In total, however, there are four things. There we go. There are four things that make me excited about the rum category. There are still things that we should be focusing on that rum has that can make the category get back to growth. And I'm going to talk about these things in a minute. First, I'm going to talk about the marketing clout that rum has, the marketing power, the new passion that is in the rum industry. For example, the kind of things that we can see here today. And we also have a growing cocktail culture all around the world. And lastly, but not least, there is the innovation that we have within the rum category that can help boost sales again. But let's look at number one. Let's look at marketing. Because the inherent values of rum, the things that made rum a hot category 10 years ago and made it the most popular spirit, made it one that everybody was talking about, those inherent virtues, they still hold true today. Because rum's aged varieties, they fit well into the space typically occupied by Scotch. The kind of age statements that we have on rum follow very closely the kind of cues and marketing indications that we have in Scotch. We also have a geographic space, and rum enjoys favorable associations with the tropics, particularly the Caribbean. It has a provenance style similar to that of Scotch, and there's different producing regions and islands all have different styles. Rum, theoretically then, should be a marketer's dream. To give you an example of that, I'm going to show you a video, so we can all sit back and watch a little bit of a film. It's only a couple of minutes. This is a video from Campari, and this year they've tried to premiumize the whole Appleton rum range, and they launched a big marketing campaign. And this here is one of the videos. I think this one was in the cinema that they showed. And as you will see, it's very much away from the Pirates style of marketing. It very much puts a grown-up spin on the rum category. And if we can just show the video.
Where the limestone karst gives birth to springs of crystal blue. A place where morning sunshine and afternoon rains bless the rich red dirt so that it gives rise to endless fields of sugarcane. We cut it,
the story goes on and on and on and on
and press it and cook it
just to say,
until it becomes the finest molasses,
I express myself this way.
blended with the mineral-rich waters of the karst, distilled in small batch copper pot and column stills to make young, raw rum. We barrel this tempestuous daughter of sun and rain in aged oak, and we wait, and we wait, and we wait, until the blender's hands say it has earned the right to be called the pride of Jamaica. This is Appleton Estate aged rum.
What the people of the room what I'm saying, but when I do know my friend.
From Jamaica, with love.
All right. I don't know if that will make you want to buy Appleton rum, but it certainly will make you want to go to Jamaica. That was a great video. There's also a lot of the biggest companies in the world are starting to invest more in rum. Last month, I was at the travel retail launch of this brand. This is Bayou Rum, and they've just been bought by SPI Group, which is the owner of Stolichnaya Vodka. They have Stolichnaya Vodka, but now they want to get into brown spirits. And they bought this US brand earlier this year, and they bought into it. They want to have US national distribution by next year, and then they're going to take it global through travel retail and through domestic channels. This is an example of a lot of money being spent by someone who doesn't normally play in the rum category. Now, the second thing that excites me about the rum category is the new passionate rum entrepreneurs that are coming into the category. Earlier, I said that rum doesn't have the same craft spirit backing that perhaps gin or bourbon has, but that is slowly starting to change. This weekend, I was at another rum festival in London, and there I met a whole bunch of people who are starting to invest money into passionate pet projects that they have. And I spoke to a whole bunch of people, and these are some of the things that they said to me. And as I hope you can tell from the quotes that are about to come up, there's a passion that is really contagious from these people. These are all young people who are marketing their own rum brands, starting out at the very beginning of their journey, and their idea is that they want to make brands that everyone all over the world is going to enjoy. But there was a recognition amongst these young people that rum is an up-and-coming category, and it's earning its place in bars around the world. There we go. And these are the kind of things that they were saying to me. They also feel that now is the ideal time to be launching new rums, because people at the moment are willing to try different things. Whether that's in the rum category, or whether that's in the whiskey category, or bourbon, or whatever. People like to try new things these days, and that gives them an idea that they can build on. And they also feel there's a groundswell of support from within the category. There we go. There are many new producers who are trying new things. Oh, hold on. It's not the right one. Back. One more. There we go. So there's a lot of people trying new things, and that gives people enthusiasm for the category and the idea that this is somewhere that the category can go. And people also feel there is a sense of freedom in rum. There's a sense of freedom in rum that is not evident in other spirits categories. With the handbrake off, craft rum can go places that bourbon and scotch cannot. All right, you had a little taste there of the next slide. But the third reason to be excited about rum is the global rise in cocktail culture. Now, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine. This here, at the very top, the guy in the hat, with all the girls around him, that is Eli. And he was a friend of mine when I was living in China. Eli wanted to be a rap star, but instead he ended up being one of the official Captain Morgans in China. For 18 months in the late 2000s, he toured the nightclubs of southwest China, dancing on stages with the Morganettes, that's the women that surround him, trying to get people in China interested in rum. It was a tough job, but I once saw him in a nightclub in Chengdu. It was the city that we both lived in. And Chengdu is the city in southwest China. It's a city of about 10 million people. It's the capital of Sichuan, and it's also where all the pandas in the world come from. But most importantly, it is also one of the second-tier cities in China. It is not Beijing, it is not Shanghai, it is something else. And Eli's job was to try and get these smaller regions in China interested in rum. And I went to see him one night, and what he would do, he would get up on stage with the dancers, and for about 10, 15 minutes, do a performance for all the people in the nightclub. He would get them up on stage, and he would do all these games with them, including limbo dancing. Do you know what limbo dancing is? He did an awful lot of limbo dancing. And whoever was the best limbo dancer could win prizes of Captain Morgan, key rings, T-shirts, all this kind of stuff. The people he got up on stage were not very good at limbo dancing, but Eli was fantastic at limbo dancing. He'd been doing this for about 18 months, and after 18 months, he was the best limbo dancer I think I've ever seen, certainly in an eye patch and a hat. However, despite all this hard work, despite the limbo dancing, and despite the Morganettes, it didn't make any difference to the rum category in China. I think the year that Eli finished being Captain Morgan, 2011, rum volumes in China, they were just 57,000 9-liter cases. Now, in comparison, in Ireland, it was 187,000 cases. And Ireland has a population which is 467 times smaller than China. So rum volumes in China were nowhere. So Eli had failed. However, where Eli failed, we now have a growing rise of cocktail culture. In cities in China, such as Shanghai, we all know that there are some of the best cocktail bars in the world. But in the smaller cities, cocktail culture is it's not evident at all. I went back, when I lived in Chengdu, there was absolutely no cocktail bars there, but I went back last year. And while I was there, another friend of mine had opened up a cocktail bar. And we went to visit it one night, and it was beautiful. There was wood paneling, they had a fully stocked bar, fully manned. It was a great thing. But most importantly, unlike the other cocktail bars that you might see in China, this was exclusively for Chinese consumers. Back. Sorry about this. So there are bars like that opening up in China all the time. My friend told me that his is just one of about 20 bars, 20 cocktail bars in China, in Chengdu, that have opened up in the past 2 years. Before there was none, now there's about 20. And rum, as we all know, is a fantastic cocktail spirit. So when we have that kind of culture growing in places like China, then rum is bound to follow. So elsewhere, we have innovation in the rum category. And this is an example here of some fantastic innovation. This is a plantation pineapple rum. It's made by the French spirits producer Maison Ferrand. And it was created in collaboration with spirits historian and bartender hero David Wondrich. It was launched last year, but it was a highlight at this month's Bar Convent Berlin, which is the annual pilgrimage of global bartenders. If you want to know how it is made, then it's done by infusing Plantation 3 white rum with the rind of Queen Victoria pineapples for 1 week. The flesh of the pineapple is infused with dark rum for 3 months, and then those two liquids are combined and put into casks for 3 months. Now, this is the kind of process that cannot be done with Scotch and probably can't be done with North American whiskey or any of those kind of things. And it's the kind of thing that rum companies need to do to attract younger consumers, the kind of people who are willing to pay more for better quality rum. And finally, we have Mount Gay Black Barrel. Now, you might all know the brand. I don't know if you'll know the Black Barrel. It came out about 3 years ago. But this is Remy Cointreau. It's owned by the Remy Cointreau company. And they have turned this basically into the bourbon rum. They have taken the cues from Scotch and from bourbon and transferred it to rum. Now yesterday, the weekend, I was speaking to the managing director for Mount Gay, and he was telling me that when they do tastings for this rum brand, it was a key component of the marketing around Black Barrel. When they do tastings for this, they don't tell the consumers that it's a rum. They tell them that it's a brown spirit, because they want to get people into the category, people who wouldn't normally drink rum, people who would normally drink Scotch or bourbon. And this is a way of bringing people in there. This is a premium entry point into the rum category. And Remy is hoping that once they're hooked into the rum category, then they will stay there. Okay, so that is the 4 things that I think rum should be doing to try and bring in new consumers into the category and to try and make the future of rum a lot more exciting. We have marketing potential, we have new passionate people coming into the industry, and we also have a growing cocktail culture all around the world, and on top of that, we have innovation. And the innovation that I showed you are just some examples of the innovation that's going on all over the world. And I hope over the next 2 days here at BRC, you will see some more innovation of the type that will bring rum back to the kind of global growth that it deserves to have. Thank you very much for listening.